ABC News contributor and former Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp, along with Republican strategist and former Trump administration official Neil Chatterjee for more. Heidi, this is a devastating blow to Democrats. So what went wrong here? Is this really just President Biden dropped out too late, she didn't have enough time, etc.? Or is there a bigger lesson here for Democrats in general and the messaging that they've been putting out to the country?
Honestly, there's people who always want to analyze election failure, taking a look at that envelope of election. You've got to start delivering your message and bringing people into your policies much earlier on. And I think it's kind of like, I think the public did not believe that the economy was what the Biden administration kept saying the economy was, believed that the Biden administration was responsible for inflation, and they didn't respond to that early enough. They kept thinking, we're going to have a soft landing, inflation will come down, and so all will be well. And I think they underestimated that abortion was not going to trump the economic issues. And so, I never look at campaigns. I think about tenure of this administration, what message could have been delivered earlier and clearer to the American public, how they could have modified their policies to adjust and respond to concerns. The border is a great example. Waited way too long to respond to the border. And by the time they responded, people said, oh, you're just doing that as a political thing now to respond to the politics of the day. So, if you really are honest about all of this, this trouble started when you saw wrong track numbers, probably beginning with the Afghan pullout that people found devastating, and they never appropriately responded. They just kept thinking, if we do good, if we pass an infrastructure bill, people will see how glorious we are and vote for us. And that's never a good strategy. That you have to communicate on a regular basis.
How much do you think, given that this is on President Biden, it's on Vice President Harris, or it's on Democrats in general?
I think it's on Democrats in general. I think this is a mistake that we make all the time. If you look at polling, people will say, that they don't believe experts anymore. And that a lot of that is tied up with how people feel about science. But what do Democrats say when they want you to believe in their economic message? Oh, 20 Nobel laureates think this is a great idea. Well, people don't care if it's affecting their pocketbook. And so I just think that the Democratic Party needs to look in the mirror and say, why don't people like us? Why is having the Democratic brand? Jon Tester is a great example. This may be the only place you're going to hear this, but Jon Tester ran the best campaign of all the Senate campaigns. Why do I say that? Because he outperformed Kamala Harris at a higher percentage than anyone else in the country. And he did that by being from Montana and speaking clearly and concisely and being authentic. And that's the message. Who are we as the Democratic Party, and how do we purvey that message? We say, can I just make one last point? We say we are the party of the people. Guess what? The people are saying, not so much.
They don't feel that.
No.
Now, Republicans, Neil, doubled down on Trumpism, and it clearly paid off in this election. But that also leaves a lot of Republicans feeling like they don't have a home. So what happens now for conservatives like Liz Cheney, who still believe in the fundamental beliefs of the Republican Party, but they don't believe in former President Trump and his wing of the party, if you will?
Look, I think President Trump, President-elect Trump, has changed the coalitions in the two parties. I think he has turned the Republican Party into more of a populist working class party, but it's still a big coalition. I think he won a mandate last night, and I think you're going to need the full array of conservatives in the House, in the Senate, governors around the country to come together and actually effectuate policy that benefits the American people. And so I think folks like Liz Cheney, folks like Senator Heitkamp, who have a voice, who can speak to the concerns of the American people, are going to be able to still impact the process in this country. I think, look, on foreign policy, you saw my former boss, Leader McConnell. He is a foremost defender of, sort of that Reagan-esque approach of peace through strength, and is going to fight to make sure that Ukraine can defeat Russia and win that war. I think you're going to see other Republicans who will be constructive in working with the new administration, working with the new Congress to pursue policies that benefit the American people. But there's no question that the Republican Party of Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush, it's now Donald Trump's party, and it's a more populist working class party.
How does that speak to the message from the president-elect this morning, though, saying now it's time to heal, now it's time to get to come together? Can that populist party also be the party of unity?
I hope so. And again, I think, elections tend to bring out animus and drive the temperature up. Once elections are over, people tend to calm down and come together and govern. And so I'm hopeful that the president-elect will use the transition period, will use his inaugural address to unify the country, because, look, there are many, many critical things that we need to get done. And I think folks in North Dakota, folks where I'm from in Kentucky, have real concerns right now about prices, about inflation, about genuine concerns about border security and safety. And we've got to come together to resolve these challenges. And look, I'm optimistic that we'll be able to do so. And I think President-elect Trump can play an important role in bringing the country together.
All right, we'll see. Heidi Heitkamp, Neil Chatterjee, thank you both.
You bet.